My Vipassana meditation journey, which means seeing things as they are, began in January of 2015. I'm a person who has struggled with anxiety and depression for as long as I can remember, and in that point in time, I was at a particular low. I've been living in Humboldt for a number of years and decided I need to get out. I felt trapped, isolated, and crippled by the uncertainty of what I was doing with my life. So I quit the job I hated working in grocery, left a relationship, packed up all of my belongings, and decided to coast out of town. In retrospect, all of this was done in a relative moment of chaotic inner turmoil. One productive aspect of my manic flee was that not being tied down by a job gave me the opportunity to finally try a 10-day Vipassana meditation retreat. Despite a conceptual understanding of Vipassana, I was considerably nervous about the retreat. I understood what I was getting into from personal friends who had done the course. From their accounts, I was enlightened to the idea that this technique could help me with my mental stability, and thus I was influenced to participate. But I had no real practical idea as how everything was going to happen. After check-in, I sat in the main mess hall with a group of almost 100 seemingly unsuspecting students who chatted nervously before getting an intro on the course. The essence of the Vipassana technique is as follows. During the 10 days, one dedicates their time to practicing the meditation technique, which is guided through simple instructions. In all, 10 hours a day are spent meditating, which are broken into 1-hour sessions and are structured so that the days are neither overwhelming or lax. A noble vow of silence is taken for the first 9 days and alleviated on the final day to allow social reassimilation. This means no communication of any kind, other than communication with the course manager about questions and accommodations, and with the instructor about practice guidance. There are about 100 other students, as you are called, participating along with you. 50 men and 50 women are separated into 2 respective camps. All housing and 3 wholesome meals a day are provided. The course is 100% donation-based to avoid any profit motive. At the end of the retreat, you are welcome to make a donation allowing someone else to have the same experience. Or not, no one is there to pressure you. Along with a vow of silence, a simple 5-precept code of discipline is to be honored. The precepts are 1. To abstain from killing any being. 2. To abstain from stealing. 3. To abstain from all sexual activity. 4. To abstain from telling lies. And 5. To abstain from all intoxicants. Vipassana meditation is an exercise in the science of mind and body. The objective is to influence both at the root level of our unconscious mind through the meditative technique. Hearing this may sound like typical quasi-guru-esque spiritual nonsense, but that couldn't be further from the truth. The technique of Vipassana meditation is incredibly simple and accessible, though extremely challenging, and is based entirely on one's awareness of your own natural body processes. You are instructed to sit with your eyes closed and observe your natural breath. There is no breathing exercise involved, only your natural breath. Some may be big, some may be shallow. Just observe them without judgment. Focus your attention to the area beneath your nostrils and above your upper lip. Feel the sensation of air touch this area with every breath. Clear your mind. Thoughts will arise, and as they do, allow them to fall away without resistance. For the first 4 days, only these simple instructions are the complete focus of your practice. This is to sharpen the mind. Despite the simplicity of these instructions, putting them into practice was incredibly difficult. You see, the conscious mind craves your attention, and your job in this experience is to turn it off. When the conscious mind realizes it's being shunned, it literally fights back. I found myself at times in a battle against my internal consciousness. The more I tried to clear my head, the harder it became. At points, I would only be able to keep my head clear for a few breaths before thoughts snuck their way back, grabbed my attention, and ran with it. Before I realized, I was thinking again. As instructed, I would gracefully attempt to allow my thoughts to fall away, but the calm would be all too momentary. My conscious mind refused to relent. The process was nearly maddening. To boot, the songs that are always going through my head began to torment me. They would play in loops over and over and over, resisting my attempts to eradicate them. I also remember experiencing audio hallucinations, which were at times abrasive and unpleasant, as my mind would wander in the vastness of the silence. I can say now that in all, Vipassana was probably the single most difficult challenge I've ever attempted, but it also proved to be one of the most beneficial. I remember during the pinnacle of my hardship, around the fourth evening, I was going back to my room after a group sit, feeling quite defeated. After 4 days of battling my inner mind in an attempt to find silence, it would seem that I was a slave to my conscious mind, and I would spend the whole course in a struggle against my thoughts. Then when I got to my room, I happened to look down at my doormat and saw some tiny moving creatures, which caught my attention. I bent over and saw a spider and a caterpillar. The spider had the caterpillar clamped in its fangs by the very end of its long body as the caterpillar squirmed vehemently with every ounce of energy in its existence to escape from its imminent death. I was entranced by this interaction and watched the two creatures locked in a battle for life and death until it was too dark to see anymore. I understood the actions of these creatures as a sign or metaphor. Life is a constant struggle. There is always the spider of resistance clamped down on you, preventing you from living freely. In that battle for life, I saw a perfect representation of my struggle, quieting my thoughts in Vipassana, and on a larger scale, what I've been experiencing my whole life, the battle for peace and freedom. And you know what? It is only natural. Things would get better. After 4 days of focusing on your breath, a clear mind, and a small areas of sensation, the mind becomes sharpened to observe the sensations all over the body that are occurring at all times, which your conscious mind would naturally be unaware of. For the next 6 days, you practice mentally sweeping over your body piece by piece, observing the sensations going on in each place. By noticing the subtle physical sensations, along with keeping your minds clear, sharp, and focused, you can become conscious of the physical effects negative emotions have on your body, and in this state, reset some of the negative habit patterns of the mind. It was truly an amazing experience to feel every twitch and spasm of muscle, as well as the warm, tingling sensations all over the skin. It became easier to control one's thoughts, and the battle that I was fighting died down considerably. I started to feel myself relax and enjoy the process. I would enjoy my walks around the campground more. Instead of power walking during my free time like I did when I first arrived, I would walk slowly as possible, placing each step with care and consideration. I wanted to soak in and be part of all the natural beauty I was surrounded by, which became my fascination. I spent most of my time observing populations of birds and squirrels, the majestic colony of ants, and the mighty, peaceful, organized chaos of a hive of bees. I would stand beneath the hive and revel in the roar of hum from thousands of tiny creatures working together as a single unit. These creatures knew nothing of the suffering of anxiety because they know no purpose except to be. Looking back, I suppose I was truly starting to see things as they are. One of the most important concepts to the process of Vipassana is equanimity. Equanimity in this context means being able to stay even of disposition, no matter what scenario may arise. See, the root of all suffering stems from craving and aversion. If a sensation is pleasant, we crave it to continue, and suffer when it inevitably ends. If a sensation is unpleasant, we spend our energy averting away from it, and in doing so removes us from harmony. The idea of impermanence is the crucial element in establishing equanimity of the mind. Harmony is the realization that all sensations are temporary, and is found in watching them pass instead of chasing the highs and running from the lows, which cause the habit pattern of suffering. This is what the practice of Vipassana exercises: equanimity of the mind in the face of all realized temporary situations. On the 10th day, the silence is lifted, and you are free to talk amongst your fellow students. The feeling was complete euphoria. I've never felt so refreshed in my life. And I got to talk to so many cool and interesting people. It seemed like everyone who was there for the retreat was on a wonderful journey with their life, and I was able to meet some people of whom I'm still friends with today. Overall, the experience was amazing. I came out feeling like a whole new person. Even though I still had no idea what I was doing with my life, that idea no longer scared me or filled me with anxiety. In fact, I felt emboldened by my opportunity to start my life over and do anything I thought possible. I was walking on a cloud, and though I knew that feeling wouldn't last forever, I was filled with joy and compassion, knowing that I was in control of my life and that things which were causing me grief were momentary sensations that would rise and fall as all things do. My journey is not done. Vipassana is not intended to be a cure-all for your mental behaviors. The 10-day course is a mere introduction to a lifelong process of continuous mindfulness and growth. Now, with the knowledge that I've gained from my first course, I feel the strong desire to return to Vipassana and take another step in my journey of mental serenity and equanimity, because only when there is harmony within can love, kindness, and compassion be projected outward. For any and all information you will need about Vipassana, visit dhamma.org.